The story of Samson. Long ago, in the land of Israel, a woman named Mara walked through her sun-drenched vineyard. She had often prayed for a child, and on this day, a messenger appeared with a promise. "You will have a son," the messenger said. "He must never cut his hair, for he will be set apart for a special purpose. God will give him great strength to help his people." Mara listened, with a heart full of wonder and joy. When the boy was born, Mara named him Samson. As he grew, it became clear that he was unlike any other child. He never went to the barber, and his hair grew in thick, long locks. Even as a young boy, he could lift heavy stones that grown men struggled to move. Mara often sat with him, reminding him that his strength was a gift from God, tied to the promise of his long hair. One afternoon, while walking through the hills, a young lion suddenly jumped out from the brush with a loud roar. Samson didn't have a sword or a shield, but he didn't feel afraid. He felt a surge of incredible power within him. With his bare hands, he caught the lion and stayed safe. He realized then that the promise he kept was the source of a power meant to protect others. Samson became a leader and a judge for his people. He used his strength to defend them from those who treated them unfairly. Once, when his enemies tried to trap him inside a city, Samson simply lifted the massive iron gates right out of the ground. He carried the heavy doors all the way to the top of a hill, showing everyone that no wall could hold back the strength God had given him. However, Samson sometimes forgot that his strength required him to be wise and careful. He met a woman named Delilah and grew very fond of her. Delilah lived in a beautiful house filled with colorful silks and sweet-smelling flowers. Samson enjoyed spending time with her, but he did not realize that Delilah was being paid by his enemies to discover the secret of his power. "Tell me, Samson," Delilah whispered one evening as the stars came out, "what makes you so strong? Is there anything that could make you as weak as an ordinary man?" Samson didn't want to tell the truth, so he made up stories about being tied with fresh bowstrings or new ropes. Each time, he broke free easily, laughing at the trick. But Delilah did not stop asking. Finally, Samson grew tired of the secret. He told Delilah the truth. "My hair has never been cut because I am dedicated to God. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me." That night, while Samson fell into a deep sleep, Delilah called for a man to come and cut off his 7 long braids. When Samson woke up, he found that his great strength had vanished. Samson was taken away by his enemies. He was blind and weak, forced to work in a dark prison, turning a heavy stone wheel to grind grain. It was a very sad time for him, but as the days turned into weeks, Samson began to pray. He realized he had been foolish, and he asked for forgiveness. Slowly, without anyone noticing in the shadows, his hair began to grow back. One day, his enemies brought Samson to their great temple to mock him during a festival. They stood him between 2 giant pillars that held up the entire roof. Samson reached out and felt the cold stone of the pillars. He prayed one last time, "Lord, remember me. Give me strength just once more." He leaned against the pillars with all his might, and the heavy stones began to crack and move. Samson's story reminds us that our talents and strengths are gifts meant to be used wisely. Years later, Mara sat with a young boy named Noam, telling him the story of her son. "True strength isn't just about muscles," she explained gently. "It's about keeping your promises and trusting in God's grace, even when you make mistakes." Noam listened closely, learning that everyone can be strong in their own way.